welcome everybody. Welcome back, Shayna. And you know what? I am just going to do this right now. I'm just going to fix it. We can. You know, we all look after each other.
Guys, this is real.
I know it's real television. It's
Yes.
real whatever. There you
Thanks,
go.
Trace.
Yes, I know. Ugly black cord. I know. But and welcome to the beautiful Swish Co-Create. So we have a special episode. We have Liz Crawford, who is the founder, the woman that loves Winnipeg, that has done so much. But anyways, you know, thank you so much for being a host and a sponsor for Hue Crew for these episodes. Everybody that walks into the space, it goes, wow. And I think that's what you want.
It is what I want. I'm so glad to hear that. We absolutely love the energy that people bring into the space, and it's just been so much fun being able to connect with everybody. And there's a baby here today, so my day didn't really get any better than that.
I know. Hi, Violet. Hi, Violet. We have Violet in the audience. Yeah. Okay, she says, I'm bored. And this gorgeous young lady here is Megan Waller, and also, well, I mean, there's such a close connection between you and Liz, and we'll get into that. But you know, professional model, Winnipeg girl. You've made us proud. Winner of Canada's Next Top Model. Oh my goodness, that was like the biggest thrill for, I think, every Winnipeg girl living in Winnipeg at the time. And you know what, we're going to get into your whole modeling career and what that means and how it's kind of changed too for you and
Big
the
changes
industry.
This year.
I know. Yes, I know. So we'll be the first to hear about it. So with you, Shayna, branding expert. I mean, what do you think when you walk into Co-Create?
Oh my goodness.
Branding.
So obviously it's so bright and airy, which I'm a huge fan of. They're just so on point. Anything that is Swish is done well. And I think that's just a testament to, you know, your DNA being in every single thing that you do in your brand. So that's huge and massive. And so welcoming, which I think is another huge part of it is, you know, anywhere that you go in the city, you want to feel welcome, even if it's your first time here. And that's what we felt from the minute that we stepped foot into Swish. So I love it.
Yes.
Oh, that's so nice.
Well, I guess, girl, you've done your job well. So, you know, let's do a little bit of history. You know, the beginning of Swish, because you were a model, and I mean, you could still model, definitely. I mean, you're gorgeous, but I mean, the whole idea behind Swish and what you wanted it to represent.
Right. Well, I don't know that a lot of people know this, but Swish Model Management wasn't actually our first company. And that might be what we're most known for, but that wasn't actually our first endeavor. Swish Productions was, and Swish Productions is still alive and going very well today. We're a fashion marketing public relations firm. We do handle events, content curation. We have a lot of big clients in Winnipeg, like the Outlet Collection Winnipeg, Polo Park, Ten Spa. So we actually have quite a large portfolio of those kinds of clients. And that was kind of where I wanted to go when I first started a business. I wanted to take all the knowledge that I had acquired through my years as a model, and then everything I had done behind the scenes as a follow-up career, and compile that under one roof. So that was the beginning. What I wasn't planning for, and Tracy knows this story, is at the same time when I had retired from modeling, I had felt very passionately about how young women in particular were being cared for within the industry, especially as they were traveling in international models. And at the time, this is, you know, in the early 2000s, I'm really aging myself right now, late 90s, early 2000s. There were a lot of, the issues became more severe with the rise of human trafficking. And what was happening and what I was seeing when I was in Europe was that the modeling world provided a really easy gateway for those who did not have good intentions to be able to mimic the industry, because essentially we kind of, you can see how it's easy. We scout young, beautiful girls with the hopes of moving them internationally, and you know, we're grooming them for that kind of life. So naturally, we were seeing more and more of criminal organizations having these fake bogus model searches and modeling agencies, and girls being trafficked under the guise of this. Yeah. And that, as you know,
into your model face search, you know, and started in Winnipeg, and you know, we covered it, and I thought it was a great idea, and lo and behold, who did she discover?
Yes. Well, and this one is this is why I say Megan is to blame. So we had all these laws and legislation passed. We did all this championing for change in the industry, and when we achieved that, everybody who had a child who wanted to model was walking into our office. But then, so then we kind of reluctantly decided, okay, well, we'll manage models too. We opened Swish Model Management. But I was like half in, 1 foot in. But then, lo and behold, Miss Megan Waller. We find Miss Megan Waller at a retail shop on Taylor. Wow. And at the same time that she had come in, we had gotten a call from Canada's Next Top Model, one of the gentlemen that were working the show, and asked, do you have anybody fantastic? And she's standing in front of me, and I'm like, oh, you know, I think I might. And then Megan, of course, went on to the show and had a crash course in becoming an international model. I think it happened
very quickly.
Really, like in a month, maybe, right? Like it was.
I think from like start to like me actually leaving for Top Model was 5 days.
Okay, so it was not even a month.
Very quick. Very.
But you know what? Nothing all aside, though, it takes intelligence and courage and a great fortitude, right? That obviously you saw too in her in some instances. And when you look back at it too, Megan, like, okay, you can give yourself some kudos.
It was a very great experience, and I don't think it's for like the faint of heart. There was 2 girls on my season that left because it was too difficult for them or they weren't feeling it.
Yeah.
And but it really did prepare me for the next 10 years, which is basically my whole career. It's been 10 years of
Wow.
stop.
Yeah.
And the rewards?
It's amazing. You get to meet wonderful humans all around the world. You get to travel and see things that you probably wouldn't get to see if you were to just stay in Winnipeg and then travel for pleasure, because you're actually living in other cities. It really does change everything.
Well, and you do grow up too, a lot faster.
Very, very quickly.
Yeah.
Very quickly.
So, I mean, Liz was talking about the way things were, you know, in the industry years ago. What have you seen? Has the industry cleaned up? You know, obviously there's more precautions, but in your personal experience, was it?
I do think that it has cleaned up. Maybe not as much as somebody that's like such a big advocate like Liz would like to see. I think there is still, especially it's more so with like photographers now, I find. Not so much actually like agencies, but there is still some shadiness, but I don't think it's nearly as what it used to be in like the late 90s, early 2000s.
How do you handle yourself now? Well, I guess now you recognize those situations. You don't get yourself in those situations, but looking back, what did you do?
Looking back, I don't know if I really fell into any situation where I was put in like danger or anything along those lines, but Liz was always just like, I don't know how Liz does it. I would call her in the middle of the night. I'd be in China and it would be 3 a.m. in Winnipeg, and I'd be like, this is what's going on. I don't know. I need you to step in. And she knows the ins and outs better than anyone.
Wow, and I mean, is that just, I mean, obviously being in the business helps, but it's just sort of your intuitiveness too as well?
I think that when you commit to managing somebody's child, and essentially that's what we do here, then you have a huge responsibility and to really know the ins and outs. And we're extremely careful before we send a model out there in the world that they're prepared, mostly mentally and psychologically, because that's going to actually be the most successful tool we give them. And also we have to be accountable. So my whole team is the same way. Grace, Kate, and now Megan's on my team. We know that if someone's reaching out, that we have an accountability and a responsibility to not wait till the next business day, but to pick up that phone call.
Oh, and it's scary, you know, and I mean, well, we were here doing a site survey the other day, and, you know, Megan was working with another young model, and I was kind of thinking, and I, you know, maybe shouldn't say in this crowd, is modeling kind of passé? Because, you know, with social media, everybody's a model. Everybody's got the right camera angle, everybody's got the lighting, but there still is that kind of, kind of like a fantasy or whatever of being a professional model. And I could see that when you were working with her.
Yeah, I think a lot of people nowadays, especially with social media, there's all the Instagram models, but I think the actual industry of modeling it's so different. It takes a very different person, because it's one thing for you and your friends to go out in the back alley and take a couple like cute photos, but if you actually want to invest yourself into it and throw yourself wholeheartedly, it takes so much like balls and so much brain and
Come on.
to be able to do it. And just carrying yourself and like be able to like, I don't know, just hold yourself all over the world in different countries that maybe don't speak your language. The food is so different, and
I think
it
it's
takes
so
a whole
much
different
more than just
different ballgame.
taking pictures, right?
Yeah.
It's like, this is a business.
Yeah.
And
It's a
you
career.
are your business, right? And I think that Instagram is great, but it's instant.
Yeah.
And it's in this moment, and there's no longevity in
very
that, where
popular
you've
right
been
now.
able to build a career off of it and turn it into more things. You'll be able to do the same thing because your reputation precedes you. Whereas when those pictures are gone on Instagram, like, you know, so I think what you're speaking to, especially as a young person, speaks to the fact that, like, you know what, you still have to put in the hard work,
Right.
and the dedication and the time, and hone your craft. It's not just about, I can't take a selfie for my life.
We can teach you that.
Okay, great. I'm in the right place. I'm gonna get lessons.
I think so. Yes, it's
all
right
about the
after
good
this
life.
one.
Yeah.
It's true, good life. But I mean, Liz, I mean, you've always had that great, I think, kind of command over anybody that has come under your, I call it your wing, because you just are kind of, you have that innate kind of, you know, motherly kind of instinct, right? That you can talk to her, obviously call her at 3 in the morning and everything like that. But I mean, like, going forward now, how are the girls these days? Because you know what, we were talking about, you know, it takes hard work and dedication, and you know, you have to pay your dues. Well, a lot of young people now feel entitled.
Right.
That- I know.
Don't want to put in their
Right.
hands the work.
Yes,
Yes.
I know. Oh, well, I can do that. Yes, Megan, yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
I know that. Yeah.
I love this perspective that she has now, because of course she's come home from New York and she's transitioning into working as our head agent and booker here. As you know, I'm pulling some of the other team onto other projects, and so she has a bit of a different perspective. Week 2, she was like, models. I was like, I know, right? I know. She's like, and all of a sudden she's like, I'm phoning every agent I've ever had. Hi, I just want to call and say I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. You know?
If I ever need you, want to rip your hair out. Like,
I am so sorry. But you know, honestly, I think that culture is hugely important. And
Yes.
so we get, you know, young models that come in, they start with us, they understand and they learn the culture and they become a part of this network.
Right.
And I think that makes a huge difference. When we get models sometimes that haven't started in us, we see different kinds of behaviors. So I do believe that culture is everything. And I also, to say, just go back a little bit, everybody is doing Instagram, you're right, but this is still, and people have to understand this, a multi-billion-dollar global business. And so, you know, Instagram training is not going to make you a model. You know what I mean? Not to mention all of the requirements and the specs that one has to have. And what the great thing that is happening now that we're seeing, which I know I love and my team loves, is the diversifying that's happening every day. We're getting
Yes.
calls for different
Yes.
sizes, different heights, different ethnicities, more so than ever before. And
Oh,
so
that's
it's an
great.
exciting time to be in
Yeah.
the industry because it's not so narrow anymore.
Yeah.
And that's great.
Oh, and that's a great kind of comment or kind of conversation or question to ask now with, it's not just male and female, or men and women, right? There's transgender and then everything like that. Are you seeing more of that coming to the forefront too?
Yeah, not so much here in Winnipeg
Yeah.
yet. I mean, that's not really where our local clients are going, but we are
Yeah.
seeing that on a global scale for sure. We're just seeing a lot more inclusivity in general.
Yeah.
What we're seeing mostly is that models are not so narrow in terms of sizing anymore, and that's hugely important.
Oh, I know. And it's all, you know, being body conscious awareness and acceptance. And I think it's such a breakthrough, you know. And I think it's just even to meet models like Megan, and you're, you know, you're a real person. Sorry, no.
I think people sometimes forget that. They see somebody in a magazine or on a website, wherever it may be, and forget that at the end of the day, that person does have family and friends and is a real person, just like
Sorry,
us.
I'm going to interject with that. I remember I was at the Folk Fest, and up walks this flower child with a, you know, little crown on her hair, and I'm going, who? And she's like caked in mud, and she's got this cast up to her knee, and it's Megan.
Yes.
And I'm going, what on earth are you doing, girl?
This sounds like Megan.
Yeah, no, I was just taking a holiday. Oh, yes, but no.
I love
so,
that.
Yeah, just normal. Yeah, at the Folk Fest. So Liz, too, as well as your models being babies and everything like that. I mean, your family, too, as well. You know, Malachi and your daughter, too. You've got a new as if you don't have to have another job, but you have another job, so to speak. So share that with us.
Yes, and then I have to stop because I think Grace has had it with me. So no more jobs for a little while.
And we'll get to your staff, which is your extended family, I think. Yes, I know.
Yes, so we have started a foundation called REACH. And REACH, we have our sister foundation in the U.S., which we've been involved with for a long time. So 10 years ago, my son was born with a rare colorectal disease called Hirschsprung's. And it's when the nerve endings are absent from the colon. So if you can imagine, of course, when he was born, he wasn't thriving. And he spent the first month in ICU. We weren't sure if he was going to make it. And then, consequently, for the last 10 years, we've had our ups and downs, and he's had about 23 hospitalizations and several surgeries. That said, he does well. You wouldn't see him that he's got anything going on. And because it's a rare disease, there really wasn't a lot of support or even a lot of treatment protocols when he was born. Right. So REACH is something that we feel really passionate about here. I'm really blessed that everybody that I work with also feels like my family, and they're his family. And so they've been incredibly supportive in the starting of REACH and all of the different initiatives and endeavors that we've done over the last 10 years. We've published research with the Children's Hospital for Hirschsprung's disease. So we've had a lot of our research published. We support a lot of different hospitals and colleges throughout the US and Canada. We work very tightly with a group of world-class pediatric surgeons on research. And Kate, who works in my office, heads off all of that. So we just kind of keep it going.
So actually, we have Kate and Grace there.
Yes.
Sitting there. So I want to throw it out maybe to Kate then. Because Kate, you model.
I have, yeah. I actually met Liz when I was 8 years old on set, and she was styling me at a photo shoot at Image 2, and then you asked me to come work for you when you started Swish Productions, and on and off over the years, I moved to Toronto and came back, and I always had a home with Liz. So.
Yeah. So what is it about Swish that?
Well, it's the family. Like I mean, we have we're all with the hashtags over here, so we have the Swish family. So it really is, and that's why everyone's drawn to her, because she really genuinely cares about everybody, and she, like 9 times out of 10, puts everyone else, everyone else first instead of herself. Yeah. So then we have to remind her, gotta flip that every once in a while. But she's it's just a really nice group to be a part of, and really nurturing and positive.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Would you ever have a male come on board?
We have. Are you kidding? Lick Cannon. He was 5 years. He worked here, and then I was a huge support. He wanted to move on into a bigger market, and so I called everybody I knew, and I have the best guy ever. You need to hire him, and he's been in London for the last couple of years. We talk to him every day. He's family.
I was wondering what happened to him.
Yes. Yeah. So he's killing it in London. Yeah.
Well, that's great. Yeah.
The crazy thing is, Lacan and I went to elementary school.
No.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
He's amazing.
He's the best. He's just the best.
Oh no. So so we got family, we got fashion. I have a girlfriend here, Francine, who's sitting here. Yes. Founder of Fashion Winnipeg. So sitting here and talking with Megan and Liz. I mean, what is your perspective now on the fashion scene in Winnipeg? And we don't even want to keep it in Winnipeg. It can be anywhere.
Yeah. I'm a firm believer that we can evolve in Winnipeg, and that fashion can become predominant in Winnipeg, and that people don't have to leave our city to pursue other opportunities. I also feel strongly that we have a lot of talent here, a lot of creatives, a lot of unknown, even basement fashion designers that are considered slow fashion designers. Whatever. I've met throughout this, so I've started the business, just to back up, January 1 this year. Yes. And so I'm in the research phase, and I've been to Fashion Week in Toronto, I went to Fashion Week in Vancouver, and so I've met all kinds of personalities, and so I take that back home, and I'm looking for those kinds of people. Yeah. And I'm finding them. I'm finding beautiful models, I'm finding beautiful business owners, people that believe in fashion as well, and that we should all work together to make it not a stereotype that we all like to be in sweats and drink Slurpees. I revert back to that because there's a lot of naysayers that want to try to just say, we're not ready for it. We are. Yeah. It just takes exposure. It takes a network, it takes exposure, it takes people that are willing to not take the nose and just say, you know what, I'm going to do it anyway. And so I've just been blessed by meeting everyone that I've met thus far.
Yeah.
And there's already a list of 17 designers that I know of in the city. We don't just have 2.
That's amazing.
Really?
You know what I mean? So what does your business do?
So right now I'm promoting fashion. So my tagline is making a scene in the city.
Okay.
So we have fashion shows here and there. We have things like that. I want more of it. I want more of like a calendar that features anything that's fashion related. This is where you got to be on this day. Because right now there's puzzle pieces that are floating, but if we bring it all together,
Yeah.
it's one-stop shop. Here's where we go. Here's where we meet the people. Here's where we, highlight the designers. You're looking to have designers at a show. Here's the roster of these people. You're looking to have models at your show. Here's the roster of these people. So it's just a community of fashion lovers that just, and it's about empowerment too, right?
Yeah.
That's why people do fashion and things like that.
But why is that though? And it's not even in fashion, it's in life, that we become silos. And how do we break down those barriers? And it's true. I mean, you have your work and then you have your family, and it's all about, we talk about work-life balance. You've got a career, and then you've got now your job. So, you're getting more hats to wear. But how do we kind of connect with other people? Shayna.
Just go out and
Dan-
talk to
Go
somebody.
dancing.
Go dancing. Salsa nights.
Yes.
But you know what? I mean, I was just at Joey's last week working on my laptop at the bar top and made conversation with this lady who's maybe twice my age at the bar top over wine. Slowly throughout the time, we made it closer and closer to each other.
Yeah.
She's like, I'd just love to have lunch with you again. I'm like, what's your number? What's your name? And there we go. Little did I know, she's a lawyer. She's like, I have some law questions about my business. She's like, Shayna, let's sit down. And this is somebody who I'm connected with now for life. The thing that I think the younger generation misses, and some of us have fallen into it, is that we've forgotten to have relationships. We've forgotten to actually sit down and say, how are you doing? I know Tracy on a business level, but I can also say I've been in Tracy's house. I've sat down, we've had hard conversations. I've been a friend, she's been a friend, and there's so much more to that. Walking in here today, we've seen people on social media, and that's nice, but to be able to sit down and be like, oh my goodness, I actually had a real conversation with Liz Crawford. This is amazing. And while she's this huge mogul in the city, she's also super human, and that's what I look for. So I think that it's more so about just not being so afraid, not being in your bubble, get over yourself. You're not that big of a deal. Sorry.
It's true.
Go say hello to somebody. Go to an event. Introduce yourself. Say what you do. Say, hey, I might not be the person to help you with something, but maybe I know somebody who can. And just be selfless. I think we're in a time where people are way too conceited. They're way too entitled. And they think way too highly of themselves, not to be confused with being confident, which you should be confident, but that relationship piece is so important. And I think that's the key component that we're missing right now.
Yeah, no, you're true. Okay. Conversation.
Mic drop.
Shayna's out. Yes. Well, okay, so maybe it's a little change of subject. Okay, I want social media. Because we talked about Instagram and instant stardom or whatever, and now social media. And now, okay, so case in point, I can't send a message because people don't get text messages anymore because they're on Instagram. Or is it sending a text message on Facebook? And what happens if you're not on Facebook or Instagram? Hello. So I'm going to throw that to you, Megan, in your modeling world and everything like that, social media. And in regards to, I guess, who is Megan Waller?
I think I'm pretty transparent on my Instagram, on my social media, where maybe sometimes I shouldn't be.
Yeah.
I'm actually surprised she didn't look at me.
Yeah, she's trying not to. She's looking off into the distance.
I post everything about my life on my social media, and I'm pretty open because it annoys me when people portray one life on social media and there's something so different going on, because it puts up this false reality that everyone thinks that everyone's life is perfect online.
Right.
And no one's life is perfect.
No.
We can all be having really great days, and that's great to post about, but we also all have bad days where a lot of people just don't post about it, and they like pretend like everything's okay. So I am pretty transparent on
Yeah.
social media, but I don't think everyone is.
No. So, and I mean, is that a policy too with your models and everything? Like, do you monitor?
You know what?
And how do you do that?
So funny. So
Maybe I should ask Grace that
we're really
question.
funny. Yeah, you probably should.
Yeah.
But you
I
know
know what I'm going to ask Grace. I don't
Yeah.
know.
We might a little, but we try not to be too extreme. Here's the truth of it. Megan has always pushed the boundaries. Her entire life, that is who she is. You know, when they said, when she showed up in New York and signed with the world's biggest agency, she decided 8 months deep to get hand tattoos. You know, and I got a phone call. Oh my goodness, she did this, she did that. And I'm like, and you know, in that moment you think, okay, is this really the end of the world? She can cover that. She can, whatever, you know. So am I going to actually phone up this kid? At the time she would have been 21, 20, yeah, and rake her over the coals over a hand tattoo. So you pick your battles, you know, but Megan has always been the one to push the boundaries on her social media, in life in general, and you just really have to, yes, there is an element of monitoring, sometimes for their own safety, especially when they're traveling.
Yes, yeah.
I think the only time I probably really called you and said, enough with the posting about your whereabouts is because it's
I had
a
really
safety
bad
concern.
Stalker issue.
Yeah,
really?
so we have those kinds of conversations. In general, though, we do try to allow models to actually be who they are. But the reality of our business is this. We had this happen this morning, you know, where we're trying to place the model. She has all this incredible potential. But on Instagram, sometimes she posts pictures that aren't great. Well, of course, the first thing agents do is they go and they look at all their pictures, and now it's causing a little, you know, doubt. So we have to work against that. So yes, in this business, in the model side of our business, it's a brand business. So yes, it matters. At the same time, I'm a firm believer, and you have to allow people to be who they are.
Yeah, and that must be so hard. I can't imagine too. And I mean, for both of you in either position, and then even when we were talking about that, and even in day-to-day life, you text somebody and they don't answer back. So, what I mean, like an answer back immediately, or 2 days later, or a month later. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't get that.
I just think it's a common courtesy that we have lost, right? Again. So I literally have this going on right now. And anybody who knows me knows I have two personalities. You're either going to get fun Shayna, or you're going to get we're having a conversation Shayna. You don't want to meet the I'm having a conversation Shayna. She's not super fun in that moment. And so I have somebody who, I was like out at a day party this weekend, saw this person, and I'm like, you're really lucky Party Shayna's out right now but I expect things in my inbox by Monday. Like, let's not go there. And so, again, I think it's also being able to like set your boundaries and like speak what you mean, right? And just say like, I don't have to condone your bad behavior. You can choose to operate in it. That doesn't mean I have to take it. So if you value the relationship with me, then you will conduct yourself accordingly. If you don't, go do this with somebody else who doesn't really care or does the same thing. But I don't have to like it or love it, right? Or accept it. So it is part of that like avoidance, and then, oh, I never got your message. Please, we're in 2019. You definitely got my message. I can read the receipts and see you saw it. Like, why are you trying to dodge? I could see online. And then you're out posting, like your stories you're all over. So I could just go to where you're at and
Call you out.
like, I'm not the one.
I was going to say, so Shayna, it was great meeting you. We're going to have issues. Because I'm actually that one that has 20,000 unread emails. You know what I do? I flag them, and then I get in bed at night. I'm like, oh my God, oh
But
my God,
I
oh
think
my
there's
God.
a big
It'll
difference.
drive you
I
crazy.
think there's a big difference between understanding that like somebody is working and you're doing your job, and being able to prioritize what you need to answer to. If you're part of my team and you're not answering me, that's unacceptable. Right? If you're my mom and you're like dodging my violence.
I know. Yes.
Something I'd like to share.
Yes.
Is that Marley and I actually talk on the phone. And it's pretty awesome. Like, I just feel like I know she's busy, I'm busy, and also, like, with texting, you don't really know what someone's actually saying. There's no tone.
No.
Things can get misconstrued. But I want to bring up something else that I've run into in the last few months. Like, do you have to tell someone you're going to call them? I feel like if I just, like, unless it's a friend like Marley, sometimes I just don't have time to text. I just want to pick up the phone and call somebody.
Yeah.
But then I was talking to my brother-in-law about that. He's like, no, you really need to let people know. And I'm like, is this how the world is working now? Like, can I call you at 5? Maybe it is.
Schedule?
I don't know.
But I think it's culture of the relationships again, right?
Yeah.
And I know, like, this is such a good conversation.
I know, I know,
right?
I know. Maybe we can.
But culture of the relationships will let you know
Yeah.
if you can or you can't.
Yeah. I guess so. Wow. So, well, I guess Violet is saying, enough. Oh, no. So, okay, so, let's continue this on. So I'm going to switch gears a little bit again because I'm going to, okay, social media, check that off. Okay, so you're dealing with fashion, you're dealing with gorgeous women, men, or social life. How does that work for you?
I have zero.
I have zero, yes. Yeah, you're working so much for Liz and then, modeling.
I think right now, because I just moved back about a month ago to
Oh,
Winnipeg,
okay.
so right now I'm like trying to find that balance between work and social life.
Yeah,
I
that's
don't
hard.
really have it yet.
Well,
I'll
yeah.
get it down though.
Oh, I'm sure you will. I'm sure you will. Have you reconnected like with old friends
Yes,
from here?
that's what I've been trying to do. A
Yeah.
lot of. Yeah.
It must be kind of interesting to see where they have gone, like since
How
you've
everyone's life has changed, and a lot of my friends have left and come back, and a lot of them have stayed here. So
yeah.
it's very nice seeing
So what does
how everyone
Megan-
evolves.
What attracts Megan Waller to somebody?
Oh man, that's a very difficult question. I think I'm a big personality person. I'm not. Somebody doesn't have to look a certain way or have a certain job. Big personality person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
Humor-
we'll be
humor.
on the
Yeah.
lookout. Yeah,
Yeah.
humor. Humor helps.
It's
yeah.
okay, we'll
humor
still look out for the
and
looks in the
adventure.
job.
Adventurous.
With that big personality.
I think that's really typical of models, though. You often see that they really aren't attracted to, because let's be honest, her whole adult life so far has been about looks and been about big life experiences, and she's seen it, done it, been there. It doesn't going to have the same value, or she's not going to be as curious about it, right? Because she understands it, she lived it. So personality, I find most models would say that that's actually
Good answer.
Yeah.
their priority.
So social life.
My
Yeah,
social life?
I'll just put her on the hot seat right now. I mean,
My social life is, I'm actually very social. I am in a knot. I look at them because they're like, she's kind of weird. I am very social with my group of people, and I love to meet new people. I think I am very much the more the merrier. So my home is always full of people coming and going, and I'm forever, doesn't matter what I'm doing, calling the girls. It was Kate's birthday, so I'm like, okay, you guys, let's all go, and let's, so I love my people, if that makes sense, and I can't have them around enough. I'm sure I've dragged these girls everywhere with me.
does there ever come a time though for you, Liz, where you just need to be with yourself, and you have your family too? That downtime is really important too, right? Because you get spread out too all over the place.
Yeah, and I'm famous for the Irish exit, which is we could be at like you two. We're at an event. I'm like, hi, this is great. I'm having a good time. And then Kate, where'd she go? Where'd she go? Where'd she go? And then she'll phone me. I'm like, oh, I'm at Starbucks. And I just slipped out the back door because I can actually, weirdly, I'm an introvert extrovert. So I all of a sudden will be like, okay, so this is good. I'm done now, and I'm disappearing and at home watching Netflix and have my Starbucks in hand and my door closed.
And just kind of like digress. But it's relationships even too. I mean, you have a long distance relationship, and that seems to work.
It works great. I mean, I think that when I'm home, in my home at Winnipeg, it's awesome because I get to be with my friends, I get to be with my family, and then when I'm in Miami with Kelvin, I get to be like, bonus mom and like this hot girlfriend, and it's great. And it's also fun. I think that, what distance has taught us, and I've done long distance relationships before, is communication. So you have to talk about everything. So that like lust and all the heat and whatever kind of goes out the window because you're like, I don't have that. So I have to get really like in tune with you mentally. It also does make it hard. You still fight. You still have disagreements. But it's kind of like you pick little fights so that you keep the heat in a different way. Like, you don't want to lose all this. And no, but I think socially I like it because when I'm here, like every Wednesday, you will find me at Sadlery for Soul Supreme. Like anybody who knows me knows that that's my jam. I'll go salsa dancing, half-price bottles of wine. It's great. Keisha Booker puts it on, and she does live performances, and that's where you will find me, right? Like, other than that, I just want to be on a camera, Zoom chatting with some client around the world, helping some woman make her dreams come true.
So,
that's it.
Yeah. So where do you go to meet people? Like, I don't know. I'm just curious because,
That's a safety concern. You can't ask that.
Yeah, we covered this, remember?
I really love the Corden area, Corden Osborne area. I think it's so great, and there's always someone walking up and down the street. You're always going to run into somebody you know, like a friendly face, and that's the best thing about Winnipeg is that you can go anywhere in the city and you're going to see somebody that you've known a million years ago,
Well, I know.
and like reconnect with.
Reconnect
Us the
and
other
see,
other weekend.
no, for sure. So yeah, Francine, Marley, Caitlin, Grace. Yes. Question. Question. Yeah.
Can I ask?
You can certainly
This
ask.
question's for you.
Yeah.
What did you get as a hand tattoo?
I got a heart.
That's very nice.
Cute.
It was 2 simple little lines, but it got me in a lot of trouble.
Just curious. Thanks.
There you go. I mean, so I was going to throw it out there on places to go and to meet people. You know, outside.
Roost on Corden,
Roost on Corden,
That's my friend
yeah.
Alsa's bar.
owned by a woman,
Yes.
run by women, and it's fabulous.
It has the patio upstairs.
Patio upstairs, handcrafted cocktails, lots of attention to detail with their appies. It's excellent. They gave me stars in my champagne for my birthday
nice.
that are edible. Oh yes.
Champagne stars under.
It's very cute. The cocktails are amazing. Elsa
Yes.
Taylor is a beautiful woman.
I would say La Roca, just because the food is amazing and it's a cool vibe because it's sort of we've been there a couple times dancing and it turns into a nightclub vibe after dinner, so that's kind of fun. But if you're looking to meet somebody, I think like an untapped resource sometimes are your friends, especially if you moved away and then you come back, because you never know who's there, who might be available that you may not have actually run into in a long time. And that's kind of my story, so I just like to share that. So
Yeah.
you never know.
Yes. Grace?
Oh, geez, I'm the worst for this. I don't know.
You're constantly working, right? Yeah.
Where do you go to have fun, Grace?
LA.
I like Prohibition. It's a nightclub. Otherwise, we all frequent the Palomino way too much.
What is it about that?
I don't know. You know what?
Never had a bad time.
We've never had a bad time though. We don't know why.
Yes,
Sometimes we go to Fame.
Yeah, Fame is fun.
Fame is fun too.
Just fun.
Yeah.
But I mean, when you get a little older generation, I mean, it's like online dating, and it's like, oh my God,
I haven't done online dating, so I
No,
don't know.
no.
But you know,
but it's a whole different.
It
Right.
seems too scary to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, so I think Kate has the right idea. Talk to your friends, get to know, you know, who's out and available. But no, yeah. So now you're sitting here, Caitlin, with Violet, and we're talking about all this. Would you ever consider a fashion modeling career for Violet?
Like as a mom,
Yeah, as a mom.
I mean, I feel like
She said,
I think she wants to be a TV host. I think.
I
yeah.
think that as a mom, you know, I would, if it was something my daughter was truly passionate about and she was aware of the hard work that Megan was talking about, I would totally support it. Totally.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
she's gonna suck her toe. I think you're gonna.
Oh,
do
yeah.
yes.
And she's very flexible.
Yes. Oh, very
She's got great
flexible.
extension.
Oh, she's so cute. Now, even getting back to your kids too, Liz. I mean, even everything that you went through with Malachi and everything like that. Was there ever a point where you thought, oh, I need to quit everything? Like my child is going to be
Yes, definitely in the beginning. And he was born in 2008, and I started Swish PR in 2007, and Swish Model Management in 2008. And this one hit Top Model in 2009, right in the heat of all of what was going on with my son. And quite honestly, again, at the time I had Kelly and Sarah, and Kate was kind of back and forth from Toronto, but they were my core team at that time. And the biggest joke was I really didn't come to work for a year, and our profits were amazing that year. So I was like, I'll just stay home. You guys can have this, you know.
It's telling me something.
So it is. And what it's telling me, what it's always told me, is that I've been so blessed to have such a phenomenal team because it's not me. And everybody always says, "Oh, Liz, it's, you do this so well." I mean, we have so many things going on right now. We have the magazine, we have Swish Magazine, Swish Co-Create, Swish Productions, Swish Model Management, Reach. I mean, we're just like, and I won't stop. I keep coming and going, "Oh, you know what we're gonna do next?" And
and I see all their faces fall.
Yeah, like
yes,
they're over me.
Yes.
But it's not me, and I know that. Like, it's not me. I might have some thoughts and ideas, but it's just I've always had this phenomenal community and these teams with me that have taken a vision or an idea and just executed and made it happen brilliantly. So, yes, I thought I wouldn't be able to do it, but I was able to do it because of who's around me.
Well,
That's amazing.
you know what?
Yeah.
By the people that you have around you, you surround yourself by like-minded people, and they'll support you and elevate you to even greater things.
It's true.
So it's been wonderful through this whole journey of, your story too, Megan. You know what? Thank you, ladies. An amazing thing, and I love it that it's right here in Winnipeg.
Yes.
So let's all raise our glasses. Cheers. Swish.
Cheers.
Reach.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hue Crew. Cheers. Thank you. Oh.